Merry Christmas, everyone, and... Well, wait a minute. Let me say something. Oh my gosh! It's actually Christmas! I think it may come as a bit of a shock to some of you, but I really like Christmas. Yep, it has always been and currently is my favorite holiday, and probably will remain that way until Lesbian Romance Manga Day becomes a national holiday. And while I have a good amount of stories to tell about this magical time of year, I'm actually going to tell you about the time I got to work at the North Pole in Cascade, Colorado. Ironically, I lived exactly north of it. Yep, the Santa's Workshop at the North Pole is a Christmas theme park located at the base of Pikes Peak, where you are greeted by the cursed Santa Titan that is tied to the top of the potato sack ride. I worked there from September through Christmas Eve of 2018. However, the park actually opens in May.
Ugh, they're already starting to play Christmas music. Halloween just ended.
Jingle bells, jingle bells. I picked up the job because I needed some extra money to help me through school, so I thought it would be fun. And for the most part, it was pretty chill.
Boo, you suck.
Most of my time there was pretty much the same. I worked in the Kiddieland area where all the really little kids got to ride. There were teacups and rocket cars, real race cars, a petting zoo with deer, boats, which I kind of hated because you had to assist the kids so they don't fall into the water, this tiny Ferris wheel with this fun little rodeo bouncer thing that went up and down, and my least favorite of all, the kiddie combo, where all the vehicles had lights and horns and they would flash in my eyes and keep honking for 7 hours a day, and I had a migraine after every time I was in charge. However, the best times were when I got to go up the hill and manage the rides there. My personal favorite was the space shuttle. It was basically one of those swinging Viking ships, but in the shape of a rocket. And one day, this group of young boys, probably 12 to 15 years old, wanted to ride the ride. So I let them on, and I always like to get a little bit theatrical. All right, we're strapped in and we're ready for blast off. Next up is Mars.
Then we can go to Jupiter.
Or Uranus. 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 Uranus.
One time I was in charge of the kiddie wheel, or the miniature Ferris wheel for young kids. This ride required me to let kids on one small group at a time, and in order to balance out the cars, I had to go in a specific order so that the balance of the wheel was always maintained, so that the second car was opposite of the first car, and then the third car was next to the first, and then the fourth was next to the second, etc. Then, when everyone is loaded, you start the ride. Well, one time, on a busy Saturday, my manager takes over my ride and sends me on break. When I get back, there's a swarm of kids and parents around the whole ride, and all the cars are filled with kids, and I have no clue who got on and who needed to get off, and it was pure chaos. A couple of parents were yelling at me about their children needing off and I'm not doing my job right, and I wanted to yell right back at them, but I kept my mouth shut and just got their kids off. One time they were training this person on this little Candy King coaster thing, and they needed people to ride the ride, and there was nobody down the hill at the time, so I got to ride the roller coaster like 10 times. Since the park sits at the base of Pikes Peak, that means the sunset is about 3 p.m. in the winter, and when that sun drops, so does the temperature. There was this lovely freezing rain and fog everywhere, and everything became super slick. Some of the other ride operators were sliding down the hill for fun, while one of the other employees walked through one of my rides, slipped, and bruised his hip. As fun as it was to say to work at the North Pole, I am glad to put it behind me. On the very last day of my job, I overheard one of my managers say something very racist. Well, I'm glad I'm not coming here ever again.
Uranus. 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 Uranus.